Tom Reed, who until recently represented the 23rd District in Congress and is now vice chairman with Prime Policy Group. Great to have you back on the show, former congressman. I'll probably mess up and say congressman or representative before your name, but it's great to kind of have your insight here. We've been following this one closely for a while. I mentioned at the top of the show that in the 23rd, not necessarily for the special election, we'll talk about that in a moment, but for the primary election right now between Carl Palladino and Nick Langworthy, you know, the ads have become ubiquitous. I've heard from so many people just out in my normal life who are like, I can't wait till this election's over so I don't have to see all the ads. What is your sense right now of how this race is looking as we, again, have 3.5 hours till polls close?
Yeah, well, it's great to be with you, Michael. And how I see it right now is obviously you're going to have low voter turnout, which is typical in these primaries. So that kind of throws off the pundency ability to predict exactly what's going to happen. But I do believe Carl Palladino, in my opinion, is going to be the one who's going to be victorious tonight. He seems to have ran a campaign. He's known in the district. He's out there. He's kind of done a decent job, in my opinion, of getting his message out, but also avoiding the pitfalls that we thought maybe he would step into. And so I think looking at it being Carl's country as his motto went, I think that's what we're looking at for this evening.
Yeah, in addition to the ads being ubiquitous, so are those Carl Country signs as you go out, especially into the rural parts of the district. But then, of course, you have Nick Langworthy. Erie County is now a part of this district. I know it wasn't when you served in Congress. And he, of course, is the former Republican Party chairman here in Erie County before moving to the state level. I want to ask you, though, about kind of looking forward. When you were in Congress, you were a member of the Problem Solvers Caucus. You prided yourself on the fact that you would reach across the aisle and work with, Democrats and other Republicans. It seems like this race, and this oftentimes happens in primaries, right, where Democrats run to the left, Republicans run to the right. But it does seem like these candidates aren't so much going toward the middle ground that you often sought. Does that worry you as we move forward?
It does. It worries me from a national perspective because the problems we face as a country are significant. And it's going to take Republicans and Democrats coming together and being united to solve these problems. But that being said, I do recognize this is a new district, and it is one of the most Republican districts on the East Coast, this side of the Mississippi River in particular. And that means that you have to represent those folks in Washington, D.C. So it's a different district than what we represented, and I understand the need to be maybe a little bit more conservative in regards to the representative that will be elected there.
Finally, in the little bit of time we have left, and again, I don't want to confuse our viewers, but just so everyone understands, we have this election today in the new 23rd, picking a Republican candidate to run in November, but we also have this special election in the old 23rd, and this is essentially to replace you and to serve the remainder of your term, about 4 months in Washington, D.C. You've endorsed your former staffer who was running on the Republican line. There's also a Democrat who's running. I obviously don't want to give some advantage here to either candidate, so we'll stay away from who you want to see win here, but it is going to be interesting, right? Because whoever wins will serve, I think it's the second shortest term of any New York congressman or woman in history.
That's correct. And obviously, the special election will take care of itself. And I give more credit to the voters than a lot of folks do. I think they understand what they're voting on. I think they're more informed than we give them credit for. And I think they're going to be able to answer this question very loud and clear. And I'm not my humble opinion. I think my former staffer is in a really good position to represent this district for the end of this term.
And again, 4 months there, and then come November, we'll have an election, and all the district maps change. It's really been kind of a mess. We've gone through all these court cases, and but we're getting some clarity tonight, and then we'll have the elections in November. Great to have you on. Former Representative Tom Reed represented the 23rd District for more than a decade in Washington. Great to get your thoughts. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Michael.